Buon pomeriggio, benvenuti a questo incontro che ha per titolo
Good afternoon and welcome to this conference about Africa, Italy and Europe, a new cooperation for sustainable development. And we have Robinah Nabbanja, Prime Minister of Uganda. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you very much indeed. And I would also like to thank all the other panelists, in particular the Director for Italy of the Cooperation for Development, Mr. Stefano Gatti, and we are hosted by the Italian Cooperation Hall, and then John Makoha, representative of AVSI in Uganda. And Renzo Piraccini, President of Macfrut. Tumukugize, a young agro-entrepreneur who is involved in the SAY project about which we're going to talk. And then we're going to have a video contribution by Frederieke Quispel, Ambassador of the Netherlands in Uganda. So, from the partnership to global infrastructure investment, to the global gateway of the EU, down to the Mattei Plan, it is more and more evident, both at national and international level, that we need to build new partnerships between African countries, European countries, and the rest of the world. AVSI, so an organization of civil society established in 1972 that is present today in 40 countries and that has been present in Uganda for 40 years, is supporting strongly in this kind of collaboration in order to see how to build new bridges for peer-to-peer cooperation. So we try to do a contribution with our projects because there is no distinction any longer between the north and the south of the world. I mean, we have to face all together one major challenge, and we can face it only all together. And this is essential for our work. But considering that we are proud of our origins, so being a hands-on organization, we want to start from the field, from very concrete cases to see how this collaboration is possible. So we started from a project named SAY, so Skilling in Agripreneurship for Increased Youth Employment. So training and education for agripreneurships to favor youth employment. So almost 18,000 young people in Uganda between 18 and 30 years of age have been supported, and 6,500 students have been trained when it comes to agricultural skills. So I'd like to give the floor to John Makoha now, representative for AVSI in Uganda, to know more from him. So we chose this case because it's a great example of how this new cooperation should be organized. So John, please tell us more about the most innovative aspects of this project. It was possible thanks to a financing of the Netherlands Embassy. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Giampaolo. Just to say that the SAY project, Skilling Youth in Agripreneurship, is just one of the 29 projects we carry out as AVSI in Uganda. But this project is important to us for two main reasons. One is that in Uganda we consider agriculture as the backbone of our country. We, growing up as a young person, we were always reminded, and it was an exam. If you didn't pass that question in an exam, you wouldn't be able to pass your exams. And then the second thing is that we have a youthful population. A number of a large proportion of our youth, of our population are youth. And therefore, we are combining those two factors to make something good out of it. For many people, they say, when you come to Uganda, it is naturally gifted. But the other thing that we don't mention is that our youthful population is also another gift that we are naturally given. So the SAY project is funded by the Embassy of the Royal Embassy of Netherlands, and as Giampaolo mentioned, is supporting about 18,000 youth. And what we are trying to do is that we are trying, one, to skill these youth, two, to put them into employment, and three, and that employment is through agriculture. But what are the tenets? What are the most important elements for us and the approach that we are proposing here today? One is a private public partnership. In this project, we have government, we have the private sector, and we have civil society organizations. And we take the best of these elements to be able to make a collaboration that is useful for our youth. The other element that we have in this project is we try to ensure that the youth earn as they learn. For many of us growing up as young men and women, we were very impatient. If you join an enterprise that doesn't make you earn in a short period, you get bored. So we decided that while we train them, they do earn something, and that keeps them motivated and engaged. But one of the biggest elements that we have in this project is what we call mentoring and coaching. In this mentoring and coaching, we ensure that our youth are attached to someone who can walk a path with them, a path of skilling, a path of experience, where they can see an enterprise grow in real time and where they can participate in it, so that the skills they learn through that path, they can be able to use them later. But the other important element is that there is a whole network of agribusiness services that support those youth as they are learning. So that network exposes them and enables them know that if you want a service, you can get it through one of the networks. We've seen that this approach has supported a number of youth, and today we'll be having one of our youth here give his testimony. And my duty today is just to introduce him so that he can be able to give his experience. Thank you.
Sì.
Thank you very much, John, for expressing in a few words the key elements of this project. So I'd like to give the floor to Stephen Tumukugize. He's a young entrepreneur who has been involved in the project, is active in the agribusiness. And so please share your testimony with us. How did this project change your life? How your life was changed thanks to this project, and not just your professional life, but also your personal life. And what was the value of this project for you? We would like to know more about the impact that the project had on your life.
Thank you so much. Stephen Tumukugize is my name. I'm a very passionate youth coffee entrepreneur. I come from a coffee background, a coffee family. And after my university with a degree in accounting and finance, I got a job in a coffee processing factory where I was working as an accounts assistant. But later I developed a lot of interest to do coffee as business, and I started a company called Darling Coffee that is located in the eastern part of Uganda. That is the Mount Elgon region. It was not easy at all because Uganda being an agricultural country, but we have a lot of challenge when it comes to mechanization and value addition. And me, I wanted to do value addition in coffee. And also I didn't have the necessary skills to run a coffee company. So in 2021, I heard about the AVSI Foundation SAY project that is funded by the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands, where I enrolled and I got skilled from Ubora, that is a partner skilling company with AVSI. I got to learn about barista and coffee quality management, which changed so much in the way I was operating my business. I partnered with Priscilla Nagudi, and we started running the company formally, who is also actually a trainee of the SAY project, a product of the SAY project. So at Darling Coffee, we are currently working with 415 smallholder farmers, and 198 of them are youth. We are so far employing 18 young men and women, and 11 of them are products of the SAY project. They were also skilled after me, and we are currently earning 95,000 euros as our annual revenues. We are producing a specialty Arabica specialty coffee that is for green export ready coffee, roasted coffee beans, and then the ground coffee for the local market. The SAY project has benefited me so much to this level. It has exposed me so much through exhibitions and trade fairs. I have participated in very many trade fairs, both nationally and regional, in Nairobi, Kenya, where our market has grown so much. It has also enabled us gain a lot of business skills, writing proposals and all that. And in 2021, we participated in the SAY Agribusiness Challenge Fund, where we emerged as the winners in our category, and we purchased an espresso machine that you're seeing on the screen that we use for brewing coffee and also skilling our fellow youth. After 1 year, we also participated in the NSSF High Innovator, where we won $20,000 in seed funding, courtesy of the guidance of the SAY project leaders. And we were able to purchase a commercial coffee roaster from Turkey that we are using also to add value to our coffee in Uganda. And also from the exposure of the SAY project, we are also recognized and awarded by the government of Uganda in the Inspiring Youth in Agriculture initiative by the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, together with FAO. We look forward to growing our company to having a coffee skilling academy where we can skill at least 500 young men and women every year, starting 2026. We also look forward to establishing at least 3 processing facilities, that is both primary processing and then tertiary coffee processing facilities in Uganda. And also we want to grow and penetrate into the export market. And speaking this in Italy, being our biggest buyer actually of coffee, having a market share of about 40% of the Ugandan coffee. This really gives me a lot of joy, and I hope to get a lot of good collaborations from here. Yes, I thank you so much for listening.
Grazie a Steven per la sua testimonianza.
Thank you, Steven. Thank you very much, because you made very clear how important training is, technical training. So made through other companies, so how you are supported and how the private sector plays an important role when it comes to the key success factors for such initiatives. And so you employ other young people and you want to train other people in the future, so somehow you are a development generator, not just a company. So we would like now to show you the video that the Netherlands ambassador in Uganda sent us, because this project was possible thanks to a specific fund provided for by the Netherlands embassy in Uganda. Let's see the video.
Your Excellencies, honorable representatives, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all from Kampala, Uganda. First, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to this 45th Rimini meeting. And thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on local partnership and cooperation through the lens of skilling the youth in agribusiness. Let me also congratulate the previous speakers for supporting the youth in their partnerships and development cooperation programs. Enhancing youth productivity through skilling in agriculture is important, not only for Uganda but for Africa. Why? Youth unemployment is 2 to 3 times higher than for adults. Also, youths that find a job are often underemployed. Part-time work, no job security, minimal benefits and low pay. In Uganda, every year 400,000 youth enter the labor market and compete for only 80,000 formal jobs. It is therefore clear that the number of youth entering the labor force far outweighs the number of jobs available in the formal wage sector. The average age of Ugandan farmers is estimated by some sources to be as high as 60 years. This confronts us with an enormous challenge. How can we make agriculture attractive for the youth? Uganda is going through a population bulge, with close to 74% of its population below the age of 30 and 22.7% between 18 and 30 years. For some people, this pool of available youth offers great potential. For others, it presents a social time bomb. Whatever perspective you take on the above issues, one thing is clear. Bold measures are needed to address the above challenges. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a job to do. What opportunities do we see in the agriculture, agribusiness, food system sector? Despite the fact that the share of labor force engaged in agriculture is slowly declining, the sector still represents 60% of the workforce. It is therefore most important to create employment. There is a large untapped reservoir of employment opportunities in the agri-food business. It is expected that by 2030, many new jobs will be created in agriculture and nature sectors. The sector offers significant opportunities for youth, on-farm but also off-farm, processing, distribution, technical services, transportation, storage and retailing. Hence, we need to re-engage youth in agriculture. So, the question is, how do we go about this? While trying to design effective youth employment strategies in agribusiness, we have to tackle constraints at 2 levels. First, the microeconomic constraints. Education, skilling, mentoring youth, and providing them with the right package that would enable them to benefit from the opportunities. We need a comprehensive approach. So also we need to look at macroeconomic constraints. This deals with how can we make sure that the whole agriculture sector becomes more productive. The Netherlands invests in prospects for youth. It focuses on supporting the youth with the skills they need, preparing them in the world of work, and enhancing their ability to get decent jobs. Our programs pay particular attention to smallholder farmers, emerging market-oriented farmers, including youth and women, and who want to increase farm productivity and income. The embassy supports, in particular, the agriculture transformation in farming systems, sustainable land use, value change, such as horticulture, potato, dairy and seed subsectors. We also invest in agri-skilling, agri-inputs, mechanization, access to finance and policy environment. but let me focus on the issue of agro-skilling. There is a significant mismatch between the skills needed to ignite agriculture transformation and the nature of the graduates coming out of the formal training institutions. Many of the youth do not possess employable skills demanded for well-paying jobs in the agriculture sector or needed to run successful agribusinesses. This is achieved through the SAY project, which is funded by the Netherlands Embassy and implemented by AVSI. SAY project works closely together with private companies, sharing resources and expertise to ensure that skilling also results in jobs. It also works with training institutions that share this way of thinking and have made this mind shift. And SAY works with schools to build interest in agriculture. Why? Because the earlier we start introducing youth to agriculture and stimulate their interest in farming, the more likely they will find productive employment. This way, youth are prepared and supported with the startup of their own business activities, and jobs are created for others. This improves the future and perspectives of our youth. I have seen and heard some great examples of youth that have taken their destiny into their own hands after being skilled and mentored by the SAY program. Musizi Basil successfully started his own vegetable farming enterprise, making at least 400,000 Ugandan shilling per month. Charity and Bridget, two young women from Kunubu district, who are, after successfully being trained by Mushroom Training and Research Center, obtained employment and started their own mushroom business, earning $500,000 per month. Other youth have found productive employment as coffee controllers, barristers, roasters, in commercial nurseries for horticulture and tree seedlings. They started fruit production and juice processing, and they became managers on farms. They're self-employed, offer soil sampling, soil analysis services and advice to farmers. They supply agro inputs. The examples are endless. And what do they all have in common? They are talented, hardworking, highly motivated and enthusiastic as they engage in their farming business. They've changed their lives and their futures, and they can take care of themselves. They are proud on what they have achieved. They're mentoring their fellow youth and are eager to share their experiences with others. And they have become role models in their communities. The SAY project gives us hope that with the right investment, the youth will soon be in a position to rejuvenate the agriculture sector in Uganda, something that is much needed. These successful efforts can be scaled up with your support. But there's also an important role for governments to play. We call on government and partners to assure quality of skilling activities, facilitate the interaction with the market, and to have the private sector in the driving seat to determine the demand, and to support concrete and needed reforms in the vocational training sector. As I conclude, I would very much like to thank our partner AVSI for doing a great job and for building the much needed partnership between the public and private stakeholders involved in skilling youth. Also thank you, the organizers of this event, and the possibility to speak here today. Thank you very much. We wish you a fruitful event. Thank you.
Grazie.
Thank you. And now let's continue with the private sector. We have with us Renzo Piraccini, who is the president of Macfrut, one of the most important international fairs in the fruit and vegetable sector. In this fair, we have all the supply chain, production, marketing, pre-post harvesting, packaging, logistics, and services. This project is in line with the AVSI approach and the multi-stakeholder approach, as in there are different stakeholders working together for a common goal. So there's an organization of the civil society, which in this case deals with training, relations with the beneficiaries, the youth that identifies the needs. Then there is the private sector, which plays an important role in training. Then there are cooperation agencies providing resources and dealing with government policies. So we have different stakeholders. So the question to you is the following. What do you think about this type of approach? Do you believe that this is a correct approach for this type of partnership that has to be established between Italy, Europe, and Africa? And how can this partnership be more effective? So you are a person working and knowing the private sector, and you are working with Africa. What do you think about this approach? What are the needs and what are the constraints in making this new partnership effective? Thank you very much for inviting me here. This is very interesting. I've been always dealing with the agri-food sector, and especially in the fruit and vegetable sector, and I know Africa very well. And this approach is extremely interesting. We have all understood that Africa is now a tropical continent. And this doesn't have to be underrated. For a long time, Africa has been considered as the continent creating problems of problems. Now, we are trying to understand, and I'm fully convinced that Africa is the continent for opportunities. So it is a totally different approach. Let me tell the experience of Macfrut. This is a fair, the exhibition of the fruit and vegetable sector, which is focusing on Africa, and it's targeting Africa. Africa is a continent where they need to produce more, where they need to produce better, especially for domestic consumption, because the population is growing and has increasing needs. Almost 1/3 of the African production of fruits and vegetables do not arrive on the local markets because fruits and vegetables are perishable goods. So Italy and Europe can help a lot. What is needed to develop the African market of the agri-food sector? Technology and training, skilling. So this project exactly meets these needs. Macfrut was extremely successful with African companies and in developing countries because people come to the fair to sell their products. But then they want to see what are the technologies to improve work. They want to understand what production standards are and what packaging needs to be like, because many things are needed for packaging and for refrigeration. So the great success of Macfrut is connected to that. Over 3 days of exhibition of fair, one can see everything and can get an idea of what is needed to improve. Because the process is not that easy. As I said, what is lacking is technology and skilling, training. A fair and exhibition is the symbol of reflects a supply chain. So we represent the exhibitors. So we organize many missions around Africa with entrepreneurs so they can touch hands-on the opportunities of the African market, which is not very well known. Because when people talk about Africa, people think that Africa wants to produce, to export to European countries or to the United States. Today, the most interesting market for African countries is the African distribution. In most African supermarkets, fruits are more expensive than in Milan or Dubai because, unfortunately, they need to import food because they cannot produce up to a certain quality standard. Africa is made of millions of consumers who have a very high purchasing power. Africa is not just made of consumers having serious problems to buy food, but there are also million consumers that have a very high purchasing power and have a very high quality demands that are not met by the African production because there are not the right quality standards and health standards required by the market. So this is what we can do immediately. We can promote the integration between the African production system and the companies producing technologies in Italy. Our business is to organize a fair, an exhibition, but we are fully engaged with many African countries to go beyond that and to build in some African countries technological hubs to show what type of support technology, Italian technology can give. And I remind you that in the horticulture, Italy is a world leader. We export about 70% of equipment produced in Italy. Uganda is a major producer of fruits and vegetables. It produces about 10 million tons of fruits and vegetables. It is also a very important exporting country. It exports not just vegetables, mangoes, avocados, and many more products. So it has a very high potential. It is also a very interesting country because, as already said, there are many youth who want to work. It's rich in water as a country, and this is fundamental for horticulture. Without water, horticulture cannot happen. So there are all the necessary conditions to develop a production for internal consumption. So I was very glad to accept this invitation because I believe that a AVSI project is the right way forward. Thank you. Thank you. Based on what Piraccini said, there are great opportunities. So I would now like to ask to Gatti, the director, his opinion on these type of projects. We'll have a multi-stakeholder approach, which is the heart of Italian cooperation. This is one of the basic elements of the law on cooperation in Italy. Second question. How can these experiences be replicated? Now, people have a positive image of Africa. People look at Africa with new eyes, at least in Italy. So how can these initiatives be replicated? How can this positive experience be replicated in other countries? So these are the questions to Director Gatti. Thank you. Well, let me start on behalf of the Italian government to express my joy to have with us the Prime Minister of Uganda. We met a few weeks ago, actually. This year I was in Kampala, where we had wonderful meetings and where we started to talk about important projects. I'm here as a special envoy for food security. So I will also speak about the Italian approach on that. In Africa, we have the youngest continent in the world and the youngest country in Africa, Uganda. The Prime Minister maybe has seen in the meeting that there are not many youth in Italy. Maybe you have seen that walking around here. But this is another problem for Italy. We are working and we are developing an important partnership with a continent where, according to FAO, 70% of the population still works in agriculture. Ibrahim Mayaki is the special envoy for food security of the African Union. And in the first meeting that we had at the G7 on food security, he said that poverty starts in food systems and ends in food systems. So the big challenge is to transform food systems in Africa to promote economic development. So Italy has a partnership with Africa and is one of the most sophisticated countries in the world. It is an example for other countries because Italy has done a lot for food security and food systems in Africa. It is a small country, but still it's producing a lot of food exported everywhere. Maybe the Prime Minister doesn't know, but the Italian food the demand for Italian food is 3 times as much as Italian production. So it means that a lot of Italian food is actually not Italian. Many people say that some mozzarella is done in Italy, is actually made in Italy, but this is not true. So we are very influential in terms of food worldwide, and Italy exports food and food byproducts for about 70 billion euro a year. If you consider that the whole African continent imports about 50-60 billions every year, Italy exports more than what the African continent imports. So Italy has a lot of capacity. Maybe the president of Macfrut can confirm that our capacity is based mostly on quality. Every type of operation on the food supply chain has to focus on quality, even when there is no food security. Many countries where I'm going on a mission with Italian companies and with civil society organizations, countries tell us that they want to produce the same quality food that Italy is producing. So how are we working on this partnership? Tomorrow, we are going to talk about the relationship between Italy and Uganda and the sectors of collaboration with Uganda that we are launching with the Prime Minister. We have been talking about coffee today. Now, coffee is a very important product for Africa. And this is a typical example of a product that is part and parcel of the Ugandan culture and of Italian culture, because Italy does not produce coffee. Well, actually, there's a couple of places in Sicily where coffee is produced, but in a very limited quantity. Italy is processing coffee. And Italy has promoted the culture of Italian coffee worldwide with espressos, cappuccinos, with our big companies. Lavazza and Italy, for example, went to Uganda. We met the Prime Minister and we met the President of Uganda. And 40% of coffee produced in Uganda is imported, is purchased by Italian companies. So we have many challenges to take on. If we produce coffee, but it can be either coffee, cocoa, or tropical fruits, which is pretty much demanded, in Italy, and that has to be up to the quality standards in order to be sold in Africa and in Europe. We needed to work together on how to promote the transition process to have quality products, because quality enables you to sell your products, to have an economic return, and to give a job to the youth. Italy has a system. The Italian system consists of the government, which supports and speaks to the government of other countries, but we also have a supply chain based on the private sector, because it is mainly the private sector generating food, which is sold in Italy and everywhere in the world, and also by AVSI and civil society organizations. AVSI has been working for 40 years in Uganda, and it is important to have the AVSI representative here speaking to us, and he's not Italian. Maybe then he's going to say that he's Italian, but I don't think he's going to speak in Italian in any case. So there are organizations here who have people, nationals from that country working for them in order to implement projects. We can support projects, we can finance the governments directly, or we can finance associations like AVSI. And once we have agreed the projects to work on. As a General Director of Cooperation, I'm pretty satisfied that this project has not been financed by Italy, but by the Netherlands. So we have an Italian civil society organization which is financed by the Netherlands, by other countries. So congratulations for that. It says a lot, it tells a lot. So the organization works very well, because other countries are not giving you money if the organization is not working well. So here we have all the ingredients to work in Uganda. We're going to talk about coffee tomorrow. Uganda is one of the first 5 priority countries with which we're going to cooperate. We have a stand down there explaining coffee. There are also coffee classes, and we are launching a very important project on coffee, and Uganda is one of the priority partners countries. So here we have a system, here we have a supply chain, here we have capacities, and there's a willingness to work together with a country like Uganda, which is one of the priority countries for Italian cooperation in Africa. Thank you. Thank you, Stefano. There's still a lot to do. Much still has to be done. There are very good prospects. But all the different stakeholders must unite to work together in Africa, and especially in Uganda, which is a priority country for Italian cooperation. It has always been the case for us, and we're very happy that the ministry has decided to make it become one of the priority countries, so that we can improve our partnerships. And now, let's give the floor for the final words to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Honorable Robinah Nabbanja. AVSI is working in countries so that every person can be a protagonist of his or her own destiny and community. And Stephen has been a witness of that. He told us what it means to be protagonists of his own development and career. We are working so that AVSI is no longer needed, so that the country and the people can continue working on their own. So, to the Prime Minister of a country, the youngest country in Africa, actually the youngest country in the world, which is making giant leaps forward in terms of economic development, because it is growing a lot as a country. So, what are the main elements on which this new partnership has to rely on? what are the pillars for this new partnership between Italy, Africa, and Uganda? What are the pillars on which we can work together? Because today we have to develop all together, because Italy and Europe cannot develop without Africa to develop. So I'm gonna leave you the floor. So what are the pillars on which our partnership can be founded?
Thank you so much. Before I come up with the pillars, allow me to introduce my delegation. With me is the Minister of State for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Mr. Chakuraga. With me is the Ambassador of Uganda to Italy, Her Excellency Napiok. In my delegation, allow me to introduce the Uganda Investment Authority Executive Director. He is one of the tallest people we have in our country. I also have one of the ladies who work with Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Fatuma Nabugorora is my principal private secretary. I also came with Jingo Francis, press secretary to the Prime Minister. So allow me, the people of Italy, to convey greetings from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the people of Uganda. On behalf of Government of Uganda, allow me to commend the role of Government of Italy in Uganda's socio-economic development. I appreciate AVSI for inviting me to participate in this 45th edition of the Rimini meeting. AVSI has been operating in Uganda since 1984. I also extend my sincere gratitude for the warm welcome and hospitality to me and my delegation. We are happy to work with AVSI in Uganda. AVSI manages 29 projects that directly benefit a number of people in Uganda. I am informed that AVSI invests approximately 20.7 million euros annually, and this significantly contributes to Uganda's development. AVSI projects span in 8 districts of Uganda out of the 46 districts. I thank AVSI for complementing Government of Uganda's development efforts. We look forward for further collaboration in skilling the youth, but also in other areas that touch the population's lives. According to the recent 2024 census by the National Bureau of Statistics, Uganda has 45.9 million people with an annual growth rate of 3.7%. Of this, the youth are aged between 18 to 35 are 10.4 million, equivalent to 23%. We also recognize that children aged between 0 to 17 years are 23.1 million people, which is 50.5%. By the year 2050, Uganda's population is projected to be more than 100 million people. Uganda has more than 1 million young people who are educated, entering the job market each year, and this presents the challenge of youth unemployment and underemployment. Government of Uganda, supported by her development partners, including the Italian government and the AVSI, is committed to addressing this challenge through skilling and supporting youth-led enterprises to pilot innovative ideas. The government of Uganda has set up regional presidential industrial skilling hubs, industrial parks, and innovation hubs to impart practical skills to the youth for self-employment. The innovation hubs serve as catalysts for homegrown digital solutions and aim to accelerate entrepreneurship and digital employment across the country. Uganda has 8 operational industrial parks and aim to increase these to 25 regional industrial hubs to enhance industrial value chains for our agricultural and mineral raw materials. This will create 5 million direct industrial jobs, predominantly for the youth. Each park will have a small and medium enterprise section where the youth will acquire industrial relevant skills. In the year 2020, Government of Uganda, with support from development partners, established a Youth for Business, Innovation and Entrepreneurship program, which has created 7,500 small and medium enterprises and equipped them with skills and tools for trade. And this program has also supported 582 creative enterprises in areas of visual and performing arts, fashion design, writing and publishing, digital media, film and animation, and beauty therapy. This program has generated over 16,000 decent jobs and livelihood opportunities. In addition to the above initiatives, the government of Uganda implements other social programs, including the parish development model, Emyoga, and the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, the Youth Livelihood Program, and the Generating Growth Opportunities and Production or Productivity for Women, which is commonly known as GROW. Let me talk about the parish development model. The PDM is a revolutionary initiative that takes services closer to the people. By bringing development to the parish level, the second lowest administrative level within Uganda local government system, we empower communities to identify their own development needs and implement solutions. The essence of PDM is to decentralize service delivery and ensure that no Ugandan is left behind. This model addresses the unique challenges of each parish, making it a critical vehicle for achieving our vision 2040. The parish development model avails affordable agricultural financing to all Ugandans still in subsistence economy for socio-economic transformation. Each year, 1 million households are supported with US dollars 270 to purchase agricultural inputs for increased production, productivity, and profitability. As you are aware, Uganda is an agricultural country, and 30% of the PDM funds go to the youth, 30% to the women, 10% to persons with disabilities, and 10% to the elderly, and the rest to the men aged between 35 to 50 years. The ultimate objective of PDM is to create self-financing, savings, and credit cooperative societies in each of the 10,594 parishes in the country, managed by the citizens themselves. The other program is called Emyoga, which is another government credit facility managed at constituency level and targets existing homesteads with already established but struggling enterprises. And every year, government provides US dollars 150,000 to each of the 353 constituency cooperative societies. Another program is Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, commonly known as WEP. This is another government facility at district level targeting women entrepreneurs whose business are struggling. This facility was created in the year 2015 and supports women with interest-free credit, training, and mentorship. The program gives up to 25 million, that is 7,000 US dollars per group, up to 15 people. We also have another program known as the Youth Livelihood Program. The Youth Livelihood Program started in the year 2013, which is also a flagship initiative of government of Uganda aimed at addressing the challenges of unemployment and poverty among young people in Uganda. This program is at district level and targets sub-counties. The other program is known as GROW, the Generating Growth Opportunities and Productivity for Women. This is another government program funded by World Bank that extends credit between 4 million, that is 1,080 US dollars to 4 million Uganda shillings, that is 108 million for women entrepreneurship and women-led enterprises. GROW helps PDM facilities who are graduated from subsistence to viable commercial enterprises. And these initiatives are strategically designed to strengthen the capacity of youth, women, persons with disabilities, the elderly, and the general public to actively participate in the climate-smart value supply chain process, and also strengthen public and private sector partnerships and mechanisms for compliance with the EU deforestation-free regulations, and thus ensuring that Ugandan coffee is not locked out of the export market. Like many other people have said, Uganda is one of the countries that produce organic food. And 40% of the Ugandan coffee is exported to Italy. However, a coffee producer earns only $2 US per kilogram. But the companies in Italy earn more than $30 per kilogram. That is where we want to partner, so that our people who produce the coffee can also earn a living and develop themselves. In conclusion, all the above interventions are possible because Uganda is one of the most peaceful and stable countries in Africa, with good infrastructure, including tarmac roads, electricity, internet connectivity. In addition to the above, we are focused on providing employment opportunities and wealth creation for socio-economic transformation. The government of Uganda hereby requests for continued collaboration and partnership with the government of Italy, AVSI, and the private sector, as outlined in the Mattei Plan for Africa of 2024 in financing, training, and technological transfer, as well as value addition to our raw materials to enable Uganda and the other African countries to attain socio-economic growth and development. Finally, I invite you to pursue a number of investment opportunities in Uganda. Our legal and institutional framework has been adopted to make it competitive with an enabling environment for investment. I thank you all for listening to me, for God and my country.
Thank you very much to the Prime Minister, first of all, for being with us, for deciding to come here. AVSI has insisted a lot to have you here, but we're very happy that you're here with us, not just for today's session, but for all the sessions that we're going to have these days, for the session of tomorrow, and for the opportunity of making Uganda known among all Italians and entrepreneurs that might be interested in investing in Uganda. AVSI has been working in Uganda for 40 years, and I cannot but confirm what has been said by the Prime Minister. Uganda is growing a lot as a country. It is making giant progress in terms of social development. You talked to us about the different programs. It is a country where we have always found wonderful working opportunities, and we have been given a lot of support by Uganda at a local and central level. We're working a lot on refugees. We have an agreement with the Prime Minister who is in charge of managing refugees in the country. Now, we don't have time to speak about that, but Uganda is a worldwide model in the management of refugees. It is It is a success story. It is a success story.
I want to inform the participants that Uganda hosts 1.6 million refugees in total.
Ecco, se fate le proporzioni.
So, if you relate that to the Italian population, 45 million people, 1.6 million refugees, you can understand how many refugees Italy could host by adopting the Uganda model, which is not just known by us, but by the UNHCR and by all international institutions. It is a success story in welcoming refugees because they have refugees from Congo, from South Sudan. What has been said by the Prime Minister is actually true, and we have seen that. One final remark. Today, we wanted to tell a story, the story of a successful project which achieved good results, in order to show that there is an opportunity to work together in Africa. By considering two things. First, now there's a favorable context. There's a positive approach and attitude to Africa, so we need to exploit this in Italy and Europe. This is fundamental, and we have to do it now. And if we work together, all of us, because this is what you have seen today, each one has done their role. We have been working on field as an association, having relations with the people, knowing the needs of the people, dealing with training and scaling. The private sector has played its role, has made business. The private sector has created an added value, jobs, development. Cooperation agencies have played their role, the government is playing its role. So if each one of us plays its own role in a good way, and we work for a common goal, then we can promote development in Africa. And the development in Africa goes to our benefit, because all the examples that have been there in a possibility to have access to international markets for Uganda products, technology, this is to the benefit of us all, and not just to the Uganda people. It is a mutual benefit. When there is development, there is a mutual benefit for all of us. Today, we have told this story through a project and through data. We hope that there are many other projects. We're not the only ones working on that, but we hope that this project and this experience can be replicated. We want to do that with the Italian government, with development cooperation in Italy, which today is strongly engaged on these new projects, where we feel supported by the Uganda government. Hopefully, this has been useful and interesting for all of you, because each one of you can contribute to this approach and to this project. Enterprises can also play their own role. In Italy, there is a favorable situation, and we need to capitalize on that. Thank you very much to all of you for having been with us. I believe, and I hope that it has been interesting with you. The Prime Minister is going to stay with us at the meeting over the next few days. Tomorrow, there's another meeting with you here at 6 o'clock. There, we're going to talk about wider challenges of Italian cooperation in Africa and Uganda. I invite all of you to visit the pavilion of Italian cooperation with the different exhibits. There is one on AVSI and one on coffee. So you need to visit that. And I invite all of you to support the meeting through Dona Ora, Donate Now, the different red points that you see at the meeting. Today, this event is made possible thanks to the contribution given by all of you to support the Rimini meeting. Thanks to all of you. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.